I actually was really interested in how, in asking you how the COVID pandemic affected your work. Like, did it make it more difficult? Were you guys able to
Well,
help more people? Like,
oh
how did
my,
it look like?
yes. Because the need increased so significantly, our name got out there really quickly. So, and then, so there was a couple of variations that happened. Pre-COVID, we were probably connecting with about 100 people per park or food desert that we went to. Then, because of COVID, there was something called Project Room Key. So a lot of people ended up in like community centers or motels or whatever, because the city didn't want, or the government in general did not want people wandering around, passing around, and these people tend to be less able to get showers and so on, so therefore more likely to pass disease along. So it increased some things significantly, it decreased some things, and then the number of volunteers went through the roof because people were so, I think, feeling pent up and wanted to get out and do something that was positive for the community. So I think we probably gained another 2,000 volunteers during that time frame, which made a huge difference because the demand was so high. And then, COVID has slowed down a little bit. So that has had, it's been, obviously that's good for many reasons, but we have now fewer volunteers. We also, donor generosity kind of went down a little bit because of the fact that, it didn't seem like such an acute situation. And then now we're heading towards basically a whole new wave of what we expect to be significant increases, and we're already seeing it in demand, is that, all the governments are announcing that there's these huge food shortages coming, and prices have gone way up, inflation, for food and fuel. Therefore, more people are in need of us. So, but in the meantime, we are also dealing with food shortages. So we have greater demand, higher prices, and less resources. So we've been in a bit of a challenging place, which that's what I spent the majority of my day on, majority of the last week on, is trying to bring in enough funds so that we can adequately feed people healthy food, because we're really trying to focus on, well, I'll give you an example. When we started early on, we were in some of the food desert areas where they don't have any access to fresh food or healthy produce. And basically they have a liquor store or a 7-Eleven or something like that. And so we would say, so kids, we'd go to schools and say, so what did you have for breakfast today? Oh yeah, my mom gave me a few bucks. And then, not mom's fault, she doesn't have any options. Mom gave me a few bucks, I picked up a slice of pizza and a Coke for breakfast. And then by 2:00 in the afternoon, when they're taking that final or whatever it is, they don't have the energy. They're hitting that sugar crash. Now their brain is not as clear. That means they're going to have poorer academic results, right, which decreases their opportunities. So we're really trying to look at this from a holistic kind of intersectional perspective in terms of how do we, okay, if we're helping the unhoused have dignity and, more cleanliness and so on, they can then interact with society better, which is so much better for their mental health. They're less desperate, crime goes down, domestic violence goes down, academic scores go up, pollution goes down, disease goes down. Everything that we do is we're trying to figure out what are the best way to tackle the problems of society in general. And, I think that people that are not struggling financially get frustrated by the situation of seeing, homeless people or whatever. And it's not because it's their choice. 99% of the time it's because it really is. The number one reason for homelessness is catastrophic medical. So somebody in their family had cancer, they put all their money towards that, and suddenly they just can't pay their bills anymore. Maybe they lost their job while they were trying to be with their loved one that was going through. So we heard that story all the time. The big deal is, if you're giving people dignity, they're going to act less stable, or they're going to be more stable, less unstable. they're going to be less likely to be depressed and get into, mental health issues, drug addiction, crime, blah, 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 out of desperation. So actually, it significantly improves the quality of life for the people that don't want to see those dirty people over there or whatever. It actually is much better for them as well. They just don't realize that just doing those little things and making somebody feel like a human being, actually, it lifts everybody's ship, and we're all in a better position because the people that are struggling the worst aren't having to be as desperate, and therefore they're not doing the behaviors that frustrate the people that don't understand what it's like to be in that position, and probably never will, but hopefully. I mean, I don't want anybody to be in that position.